Whether you're wildcarding in game week 5 or simply making a free transfer, we always want to own the player that nobody else has to propel us up those overall ranks. And thankfully, I have found 5 differentials that I think could do exactly that for your team. So if you're looking forward to today's video, make sure you do drop a like. We're aiming for 200 likes on this video. And if you enjoy what you're watching, make sure you do smash that subscribe button. I've got a goal of 10k before the game week 5 deadline. I know you legends can do that. So without further ado, let's get into today's video. So first up, I want to take a look at Spurs' Son, who is 10.4% owned at the time of recording. Now I get it, you might be sat there thinking, Nacho, this isn't a differential, he's not 5% owned. I think we definitely need to change our mindset on what a differential is going into this season. The reason being is the template is so strong right now with so many players around 40 or 50% ownership. So we only have a few players in our teams that we want to change, maybe a forward like a Nicholas Jackson, or maybe a midfielder like a Rashford or a Bruno if you've lost patience with them. So someone like a Son who's only 10% owned is actually a differential in the game right now because of how highly owned other midfielders are. So we don't need the 1%ers, the 2%ers. 10% is still a fantastic differential. And I really think Son is the pick of the bunch of the midfielders. Now, first and foremost, we need to remember the reason why a lot of FPL managers are considering Son for their teams is because of the hat-trick in game week 4. So if you didn't know, Son played as a number 9 in game week 4 in their away fixture against Bournemouth. And the numbers that he put up were unbelievable in comparison to the opening 3 game weeks. So in game weeks 1 to 3, he played on the left of a front 3. But the problem with that is the way that Ange plays his formations. The wingers are expected to hog the touchline and get opportunities by creating them for others. Obviously, playing as a number 9, we are seeing Son be at the heart of everything good in that team. So, as you can see with the underlying numbers here, we've got the game weeks 1 to 3 data per 90 minutes, and then we have in isolation game week 4. So we can see here what an unbelievable performance in game week 4 was. XG was 1.25 per 90. Compare that to the 0.12 that he was putting up in the first 3 fixtures. Shots were through the roof, 6.25 in that game compared to 1.76 per 90 in the opening 3. And also as well, shots in the box. Again, playing as the number 9, he is the one that's expected to actually be between the sticks. 5 shots in the box in that game compared to his 1.06 per 90 in the opening 3 fixtures. I would expect his expected assists to be higher in the opening 3 game weeks because, as I mentioned, he was playing almost as a left winger and being more of a creative asset in that team rather than the goal scorer. Now, we saw that in game week 4. Solomon came into the team, went on the left wing, picked up 2 assists, and that balanced Spurs' team way better than Son being on that left flank, providing opportunities for Richarlison, who we know is a little bit erratic in front of goal. I think from a Spurs perspective, this could stick in the opening next few game weeks with Son playing as the number 9 and someone like a Solomon who suits that left wing creative role much better than someone like a Son. So the data in game week 4 is unbelievable, but can we draw conclusions just based on one game week? No, absolutely not. This is just an idea of what could happen if he continues to play in the number 9 role. Now, the big thing why I think buying Son is a good idea this game week is because of the game week 5 fixture at home against Sheffield United. Now, I do think Sheffield United are one of the weakest teams in the league, but importantly, I really do rate what we are seeing from this Spurs attack. They've scored 11 goals in the opening 4 fixtures, but what I will say is their XG has been 8.07, so they are exceeding their underlying data, but I still think they're creating fantastic opportunities. And when they have people like Maddison in the team, Son, Kulusevski, I don't think they're going to be short of creativity this season, whereas last year we did see that in the side. I don't think there's going to be any problems with that going forward. Now, looking beyond game week 5, Arsenal away doesn't look good on paper, but this sort of fixture in a North London derby, I think there is going to be opportunities for Spurs to hit Arsenal either on the counter or in transitional moments. We saw that against Man United. So I wouldn't say that is a defensively bad fixture for Spurs. And Liverpool at home, who defensively aren't looking good this season, I think is another opportunity for Son to get some returns in. And then beyond that, Luton, Fulham, Palace, fantastic fixtures. So if you're in the market right now, you don't have a Spurs option, I would lean towards Son. If he continues to play in this number 9 position, and I don't think we have any indication to suggest he won't do so, especially in this game week 5 fixture, I think you pay the extra for Son over a James Maddison. If you're sat there right now with a James Maddison and you want to go sideways to Son, I think it is a luxury transfer. If you have no other moves to make, you have the money available, I don't mind it. But the way I view Son is probably a player that is absolutely more likely to get the hat tricks, but Maddison is the one that is going to tick over in these upcoming fixtures. Maddison being on all set pieces, being the creative hub in the team, I'd expect him to probably go over this period with goal, assist, whereas Son could go hat trick, blank, blank, hat trick. And it depends what kind of player you want in your side. But look, if I was wildcarding right now, I would choose Son over Maddison, especially him being about 15% less owned than that of Maddison. I think it's hard to overlook Son right now. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is the pick of the midfielders. And if you can go early in game week 5, I would do so, because I think come game week 8 or 9, a lot of FPL managers are going to steam into Son if he continues with these numbers. Next up is Darwin Núñez, who is also around 11% owned. But I think this one is a lot more of a differential than what it looks like on the ownership, because from an engaged manager perspective, I don't think a lot of the community are invested in Darwin Núñez, and I understand why. The minutes are so sporadic with Darwin Núñez. He's only recently got a start in game week 4 where he rewarded owners with 2 assists, but of course the real headlines were made in game week 3 when he came off the bench and won them the game with that brace against Newcastle. And realistically, I don't know about you guys, but when I'm seeing Darwin Núñez play, he suits the system so much better than that of a Gakpo who drops into these little pockets to get the ball and drives with the ball from deep. I don't think this is suiting the Liverpool team at all, and I'm hoping Jurgen Klopp, knowing that he has the technicians in the team like Trent, like Szoboszlai, like McAllister, he doesn't need a player to pop up into the centre mid areas and pull players about. He has the ball strikers, the creativity in the midfield to feed players like a Darwin Núñez. Now, the reason why I think Darwin Núñez right now is a good investment is because a few of us have a Nicholas Jackson problem. Now, I'm not sitting here telling you should sell Nicholas Jackson, because he has the second best XG of all forwards in the league, and I actually think giving him a bit more time is probably the right move to make. However, I know some FPL managers don't have patience, and I do think if you want to go sideways to a player that could score a hat-trick or a brace in the next few game weeks, I definitely think Darwin Núñez is that man at 7.4 million. You can easily go sideways from your forward to a Darwin Núñez in that price structure. And looking at the underlying numbers per 90 minutes, we have to remember it's a very small sample size because he's been mainly a bench option for Liverpool, but his XG per 90 is 1.24. He doesn't take penalties, so that is unbelievable numbers. And his shots per 90 are 7.43. Again, these are numbers that we discussed last season. He was the only one that was kind of keeping tabs with Haaland last year. And I honestly think if Darwin Núñez was to play the games and the minutes that Haaland does, he would be right up there as an FPL option, especially at only 7.4 million. And also as well, shots in the box at 5.78. He is getting between the sticks and getting these opportunities, hence the XG per 90 being so damn good. And the thing as well, big chances created per 90, 0.83. I always discuss about how I want the player that has all of the XG, none of the XA, because it basically means the only reason they're in that team is for the team to feed them opportunities, like a Ferguson, for example, at Brighton and Haaland at Man City. But Darwin Núñez is doing a bit of both, and the underlying numbers are outrageous. Now, looking at the fixtures going forward, Wolves away I think is a good fixture. West Ham at home I think is a good fixture. Spurs away defensively are not sound at all. I expect Liverpool to score in that game. And Brighton away as well. Yes, they might lose that game, but I fully expect Liverpool to cause plenty of problems for Brighton. And we know, if you don't know already, game week 9 is quite a popular time for managers to wildcard because the Liverpool fixture swing is unbelievable with Everton at home and Nottingham Forest at home. And I do expect most managers, engaged managers, to be tripled up on Liverpool come game week 9. But as I said, if you're sat there right now with Nicholas Jackson, you're a little bit worried about him, don't think he's going to be converting the opportunities he's getting, I think if you want to go for that real upside chasing pick, you want to climb your overall ranks, the mini leagues, I think Darwin Núñez is that man. And I honestly do think his minutes are going to be pretty good over the next 4 game weeks, knowing that a lot of managers might come to him in game week 9 and simply ignore him in game week 5. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. But honestly, I think if Darwin Núñez gets 70 minutes in 5, 6, 7 and 8, he will be right up there as one of the highest scoring forwards in the game. Now, another forward that has suddenly come as an option is going to be Luton's Morris. Now, I get it. You're probably sat there thinking, Nacho, have you lost your mind? How can you recommend a Luton forward? And part of me does think, have I lost my mind? But there is logic behind the madness. So, Morris, 5.5 million, a lot cheaper than Darwin Núñez, and only 1.5% owned. Now, the reason why I'm recommending Morris is two things. First and foremost, a lot of FPL managers out there have a João Pedro problem in their teams. They're really fed up with him because his minutes are really rotated, and Brighton are coming into a Europa League period where we don't have a clue what the Brighton team is going to be week in, week out. And at 5.5 million for Morris, it offers an opportunity for you to go easily sideways to a player that is going to be guaranteed minutes, but importantly, have a great fixture run and a double game week in game week 7. For those that don't know, Luton had a blank in game week 2 and it's being rearranged into game week 7 when they're away against Everton, which isn't a bad fixture at all, and then at home against Burnley. So look, any fixture for Luton is going to look terrible because arguably they're the worst team in the league. However, that's a good fixture run. Fulham, Wolves, Everton and Burnley in a double, Spurs, Nottingham Forest. I think that's as good as it will get for Luton over the foreseeable future. And Carlton Morris has put up some decent numbers so far this season. XG per 90, 0.41. Shots, 3 per 90. That's decent, again, for a team that don't really pick up a lot of opportunities in games like a Luton. You have to remember they've also played Chelsea over this period as well, who did dominate them from an underlying stats perspective. Shots in the box, 2.33 per 90, and even attempted assists, 0.67 per 90. Now, I think we're expecting Morris to be the penalty taker as well, which is a really big factor if we are considering a 5.5 million forward. And for me, I don't really think you need to consider Morris if you own a Nicholas Jackson. I wouldn't necessarily go there right now unless you want to do it around 6 or 7. But in game week 5, if you have a João Pedro, I think this is quite a no-brainer transfer for you. You're going to get, as I said, a talisman in this Luton team, the penalty taker, and decent fixtures. And I think if Luton are going to do well over this period, then Morris is going to be the heart of everything in that team. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. I know a Luton player is a little bit of a rogue one, but I think because of that double in game week 7, it is a brilliant differential. And if you have a cheap forward that you're really frustrated with right now, João Pedro, this is a really nice transfer for your teams. Now, while I think Morris is more of a João Pedro replacement, not necessarily a Nicholas Jackson one or a Watkins one, for example, I think Awoniyi at Nottingham Forest could honestly be a replacement for any forward that you own in the game right now, excluding Erling Haaland, of course. 6.6 million, 4.7% owned. Now, this is a player that honestly saved Nottingham Forest last season. He was involved in pretty much all of their goals scored at the back end of last season, and he's kind of continued that trend. 4 goal involvements in the 6 goals that Forest have scored so far this season. Now look at his numbers right now. Goals per 90, 1.08. I know it's only 4 game weeks, but XG, 0.66 per 90. So you're probably sat there thinking, Nacho, this is not sustainable at all. Well, Awoniyi last season played 27 league games and his XG per 90 was 0.64. Honestly, this guy is one of those that is, if you put him in the Chelsea team right now, I honestly would not bat an eyelid at all. I think he would do a fantastic job for a top level team. And the numbers are just good. Shots per 90, 2.52. Yes, they aren't Darwin Núñez numbers, but they're solid numbers. Shots in the box naturally are going to correlate with the XG per 90, 2.52. His expected assists isn't the best, 0.14, but as I said, when I'm buying a forward, I like the players that are just all about the XG, like a Callum Wilson at Newcastle. It means that they are funneling everything through that player. And it comes down to the talismanic theory where if Forest are going to do well, they rely on Awoniyi to do well. And with the fixtures coming up for Forest, Burnley at home in game week 5, I think they'll probably view that as a not must win, but a game that they really do need to stamp their authority and say, we're Forest, we're a Premier League team now, and we're staying. So I think the Forest game, the game week 5 game is a big game for them, and I would expect them to score nonetheless. Game week 6 is just a free hit away against Man City, but they may have a bit of a distraction with Champions League football. Then Brentford, Palace, Luton, I think they're quite favourable fixtures, especially being the Brentford game and Luton game at home. We know Forest can cause upsets at their place. So, look, Awoniyi is one of those players where I don't expect him to be a hat-trick, even a brace scorer. He very much feels like a Watkins asset where he is going to tick over really nicely over the next 5 or 6 game weeks. I would not be surprised if you said to me he gets a goal against Burnley, an assist against City, goal, assist, goal. He isn't going to be that player that is going to rack up a hat-trick and going to be the highest point scorer of that week. But we need to remember, Forest have had quite a tricky start to the season. They've played Chelsea, they've played Arsenal, and he has scored in all of those fixtures or got an assist. So Man City away shouldn't be a daunting one. I think they have the tools available to them to actually hit them on the counter. And I think Awoniyi, again, has the possibility of scoring in that game week. So for me, if you want that player that's going to tick along nice and steady at 6.6 million, I think Awoniyi is the answer to your problems. I just think naturally, with people looking to wildcard around game week 9 and looking at a 4 game week horizon, we want to go for that player that could get those hat tricks or those big hauls. And I think that's why we are going to overlook Awoniyi in our FPL teams. But again, if you're wildcarding right now and you're looking a bit more further afield at a steady Eddie, I don't think they come much worse than Awoniyi in your teams. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. So last up on my game week 5 differentials is going to be a goalkeeper. That's kind of why I saved it till the end here. And that is going to be Brentford's Mark Flekken. Now, I'm really surprised at his ownership here, only 2.9%. Because I think Brentford is a whole, a really solid team to invest from a defensive perspective. And only 4.5 million. He's starting to emerge as that goalie that we look back and think, oh, he should have been our goalie in pre-season and going into game week 1. I think we're just a little bit hesitant how Brentford were going to do without Raya and Ivan Toney in their squads. Now, just looking at the numbers for Brentford so far this season from a defensive perspective as a team, they're 4th best for expected goals conceded at 4.46, which is always really solid reading. And they're also 10th for shots conceded, and I will come on to that in a minute. Now, the reason why I like that kind of combination there is that they're not conceding big chances because their XG conceded is really, really good. So they're conceding very low kind of goal scoring opportunities, very small chances in the team. And being 10th for shots conceded is really good for a goalkeeper perspective because it means Flekken isn't getting troubled too much from high scoring big chances, but he's making those easy saves from low scoring opportunities. And as a goalkeeper, we know if they accumulate saves, that means potential hauls. And we can see that here. Saves per 90 for Mark Flekken is 3.25. We only need 3 saves for 1 point in FPL. So that's good. That's good reading there. Yes, some goalies in the league, I think Trafford at Burnley or Leno is around like the 6 saves per 90 mark. But they have played some tough games, which I would expect them to accumulate those saves. And looking at the fixtures coming up for Brentford, Newcastle away, that's an opportunity for him to rack up some saves. And again, I back the Brentford defence. I don't think they're going to get mullered at all in that fixture. And I think, as I said, with the combination that Brentford do, they offer the teams low scoring opportunities, but they allow shots on their goal. Good things for someone like a Flekken. Everton at home in game week 6. Great opportunity for a clean sheet there. Forest away, good fixture. And then we have someone like a Man United who, again, Brentford will give him low scoring opportunities and he could accumulate saves in that fixture. Game week 9 is a great fixture, and then game week 10, same principle. I think they'll give low scoring opportunities to Chelsea and he could accumulate plenty of saves in that fixture. So again, when we're looking at a goalkeeper, we don't want to go for the 5.5 millions like a Edison who are going to get no saves, no bonus, and are just going to tick along with 6 or 2 pointers. I do think it is coming with Flekken where we're going to get those game weeks where he's going to accumulate lots of saves and he is going to get that double-digit return because Brentford as a team are very good defensively, and I don't want to be investing in a team like a Burnley, for example, who have a double game week in game week 7, it is worth noting, but around that really tricky fixtures where I literally cannot see where the clean sheet is going to come. I could see 2 or 3 clean sheets over these next 6 game weeks. And if I was wildcarding right now and you were looking for a 4.5 million goalkeeper, I think Flekken is the pick of the bunch right now. So let me know your thoughts on the comments. Yes, guys, okay, so that's going to wrap up today's differential video. I really hope it's provided some value and helped you out on maybe some alternative options you were looking for, either your wildcard or your free transfer. Now, honestly, there is so much content coming up between now and the game week 5 deadline. There's going to be daily videos and also double uploads on some days alongside live streams. So if you are not liking this video or subscribe to the channel, what are you playing at? Get involved with the channel. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, and importantly, hit that notification bell so you get alerted anytime I do drop a video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully you can be part of this journey, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Cheers.